Okay, the new AP poll just came out. I called out of work, so let's give the instant reaction to this. So, Ohio State obviously goes number one. You'll see that on your screen now. The victory over Texas. The winner of that game was always going to be number one in the country. Didn't matter that it wasn't a 1 or 2 matchup, which was stupid. They didn't make it that. I digress. Number two is Penn State holding firm after their victory over Nevada. LSU and Florida or Miami are obviously the two biggest jumpers here. LSU goes to number three after being number 9 when they beat Clemson on the road. An impressive victory. They haven't won a game, their opening game, since 2019, which incidentally was the last time they won the national championship. So maybe it's a bit of foreshadowing here that LSU will be able to put it all together and win a national championship this season. They got, 3 first place votes as well. Penn State got 7. Ohio State got 55. Georgia or Miami is the other big jumper. They go up 5 spots after beating Notre Dame at home. I thought that was a super impressive victory. I thought it maybe was more impressive than LSU just because of the way that they won, actually playing defense, actually taking care of the ball, which were things that were trouble for Miami last year. And then, of course, Carson Beck with his big game interceptions last season. So they jump up to number 5. I understand why LSU gets a bigger jump because it's on the road against a higher ranked team from the first one, but I think that Miami might have been more impressive. Georgia and Oregon and Penn State, they all basically stay firm after beating teams that they should have won by about the amount that they should have won by. Then you have the run of 3 0-1 teams, Texas, Clemson, and Notre Dame. I don't know. I don't know that Texas, well, what I do know is that Texas should not be higher ranked than Clemson or Notre Dame. I think with these early season polls, they have to try to make the beginning of the season right. And of course, Ohio State's a very good team. Texas on the road only loses by 7, but they also only scored 7 points. Arch Manning looked not good. Texas looked like they didn't really have a game plan. I know that Ohio State's got a really good defense, but 7 points, that's not enough. They shouldn't be in the top 10. I think that they should have dropped below South Carolina, who got a win against Virginia Tech. I just don't think that Texas is the number 7 team in the country. But of course, were ranked number 1 in the preseason poll. They only lost by 7 points to who is now the number 1. The AP is not going to, shit on their own rankings that much. Clemson, Notre Dame, I think both played well. Clemson only scores 10 points at home. So I think that Notre Dame looked better than both Texas and Clemson because they really had a chance to win at the end of the game. And they have a freshman quarterback, an actual freshman quarterback, not Arch Manning, who's been there for 3 years and just is not that good. They have a freshman quarterback on the road. Miami in August with the rain and everything. That's a tough game, and he made some dumb mistakes with all those intentional groundings that he threw, and they only lose by 3 points. So I think that Notre Dame, if all 3 of those teams played against each other, Notre Dame goes 2-0. And the other teams, I think Texas goes 0-2. So it should be flipped, in my opinion. Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas. But again, there's other reasons than just how good they look on the field for the AP rankings. A couple of hopefuls here: South Carolina, Illinois, Arizona State. They all basically stay the same. I know South Carolina jumped up a little bit, but it's not really that big of a deal at this range. Very interesting that Florida State goes from unranked to number 14 right away in the college football playoff discussion. That's one of those recalibration rankings. I don't know that they deserve to jump over all those teams because I think that Alabama might be bad, but Florida State is definitely a college football playoff contender if they can keep it up throughout the rest of the season here. Iowa State, the 2-0 team, they beat South Dakota by quite a bit. I think Kansas State struggled with North Dakota or North Dakota State. I'm not sure. They go unranked. They hadn't updated the rankings. That's the weird thing about the week 0 games is they have the preseason rankings before that, and then they don't update them until after week 1. So Kansas State played as a ranked team week 1 as they were an 0-1 team. So and Iowa State didn't get recalibrated after their first victory. So it looks like they jump up 6 spots because they beat South Dakota by 50 points, but I think that Kansas State actually wasn't that good. I don't know that Iowa State's the number 16 team in the country. What they're the second highest rated Big 12 team. We'll see. Everybody in the Big 12 is going to end up playing each other in some way, shape, or form. So we'll see how good Iowa State is. SMU drops a little bit, mostly because of Florida State and Iowa State. The biggest matchup we have in week 2 is Michigan and Oklahoma. Michigan did drop 1 for Florida State, so it's now 15-18 instead of 14-18. It's Michigan on the road at Oklahoma. This will be the second Big Ten SEC matchup, so we'll see where things stand between those two conferences after that. Texas A&M stays at 19. Alabama, of course, is a big dropper. I'm going to wait to talk about Alabama. I don't know how good they are. I don't know what's going on with that coaching staff. I talked about it at the end of last season, talking about how Nick Saban leaving was a huge blow for the SEC. They don't have that rock of a team. And then, of course, that seems to come true towards the end of last season and at the beginning of this season. I don't know what's going on with Kalen DeBoer. I ultimately picked them to go to the college football playoff. So we'll see. We're gonna let it play out a little bit. I'm gonna not speak too soon on that, because if Alabama starts to fall off, it really changes the dynamic of college football. Not having that team, that solid team for the SEC every single season that's going to get 9-10 wins, that, they had Alabama and Georgia doing that for a while. Maybe Texas takes that mantle, but even Texas did a very un-Alabama thing to lose that opening game. So I think I saw a stat that this is the first time that Alabama has a below 500 record since 2008, which is crazy to think about. They were winning the season opener for all those seasons as well. So I think that they haven't scheduled super cupcakes all the time, so it's a big loss. That was quite a shocking game against Florida State there. Indiana drops a little bit. Texas Tech drops a little bit. Of course, Kansas State drops out of the rankings. Boise State drops out of the rankings, and I don't think that they got any votes to stay in. BYU, Auburn, Georgia Tech are among the top teams receiving votes. South Florida is the highest vote count for any G5 team. And South Florida I have a video that will come out basically right after this talking about the state of Florida. And South Florida has a very tough schedule. They opened up at home against Boise State. They play Florida next week, and then they play Miami the week after that. Other than that, Florida State's just playing their American, or South Florida's just playing their American schedule. So we'll see what they could pull off. It's them, Tulane, and James Madison, Liberty, UNLV. So there's a couple teams that are receiving votes. Navy, Memphis is receiving a couple votes for the G5. But it's South Florida in the lead for the G5 right now. It'll be interesting to see, because a G5 team has to make it. So will there be an unranked G5 team that gets pulled all the way up into the playoff? If so, there's going to be changes, because it was easy last year with Boise State. They were a top 12 team. But if they have to pull a team from the 20s or to pull a team from unranked even, we'll see what changes come into the college football playoff after that. But I think South Florida was really good. I think that Boise State maybe was slightly overrated. I picked them to go to the college football playoffs, but South Florida looked really good on both sides of the ball. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and if you made it this far, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Is there anybody that they ranked too high? Anybody that they ranked, other than Texas, is there anybody that they ranked too low, other than the Ducks, who should be number one? And who are they completely missing? What team from the others receiving votes, or a team that's not even mentioned, should be in the top 25? If you want to watch more of my videos, I do have those for you. I got my video that I did last week, which was the look at college football in 2030, a conference realignment video, so check that one out if you're interested in that. I got the first version that I did of that video up here, which is one of my most popular videos, so check those out. Leave comments. Let me know what you think of that. Other than that, I've got my subscribe link on this side, and we will check you next time. See ya!